Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Stacy and this is Shannon. It's Easter today, so happy Easter to everyone. We are just staying home since we're, hashtag quarantine, hashtag coronavirus. So we decided that we are gonna go over my birth story. So birth and delivery, labor and delivery, whatever it is that you want to call it. So she was born November 19th of last year. So we went to the hospital at around 7 p.m. And when we went, we were just there for a little bit. The lady nurse, they got us all checked in. And then I think it started to induce me at about an hour later, so it was like 8 o'clock. Just keep in mind that I have the lowest tolerance pain ever. I'm so scared of shots, needles, all of that. Just I'm super scared. I'm weak sauce. And baby, you okay? So anyways, we went to the hospital and when I got there, I wasn't in any pain. I was still at 2 centimeters actually. Yeah, we checked in. The nurse, she checked to see how many centimeters I was at, and I was still at 2, which is what I was at the previous week. And then she was just like, okay, we're gonna put you on Pitocin, which is supposed to speed up the process or help you start dilating. So they just put whatever thing in the little, what do you call it, IV bag, or I'm not really sure what you call it, but they put me on Pitocin. That was at 8 p.m. That was on Monday the 18th. And then I didn't feel anything. I was still, I was pregnant. I had a big stomach and everything, but I wasn't in pain. I wasn't feeling any contractions. I literally just okay, let's go to the hospital. I just went. And then for, I want to say by midnight, I want to say they had kept coming back in and kind of just checking on me, but I wasn't dilating. I was basically still at the same thing. I want to say it was maybe 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, yeah, 12 or 1, so midnight, 1 in the morning, where the lady kind of checked back and checked on me, and I was maybe only at 3 centimeters, so nothing really drastic had happened. And then we were to the point where she was just okay, I think we should break your water bag. So I'm okay, sure, cool, let's get this thing going. So that was the worst pain ever. I guess I just didn't even know what to expect. Literally, I just I felt this pinch, if it was a needle or something. I just felt this pinch, and right when I felt that, there was just this gush of hot warm water. It was gross. You're just sitting there and then you're just in a puddle of hot water. It was the weirdest thing. But literally I went from 0 to 10 in pain. Like I said, when I went in, nothing, no contractions or nothing. I was just pregnant. Okay, let's get the show on the road. And then literally once they broke my water bag, that was the worst feeling ever. It was definitely a 10. I started crying. I just didn't know what to do. I was just crying and crying. And then the nurse lady, she was okay, how much pain are you in? And I'm just dude, I'm out of 10. I'm this is the worst pain ever. So then she was just asking me do you want to get the epidural? And I was really hesitant on getting it, because I used to watch other YouTubers and kind of go over their birth stories. And I've heard stories where you'll ask for the epidural and I don't know, maybe you get it too early, and then by the time that you really need it, or you're now having the baby, that it wears off. So that's the only reason why I was hesitant and getting it too early, especially because when they came and broke my water bag, I was only at a 3, and this was midnight, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. So the fact that I was there from 8, and then it took 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours for me to even get to a 3, I just felt I probably shouldn't get it. Like, I was in the worst pain, but I was like, you know what, like maybe I just need to like wait a little bit longer. So I didn't really know what to tell her, but she was kind of just like, so do you want to get it? Do you not want to get it? And I was just like staring at my husband like, what should I do? Like, I was just crying. I was like in the biggest pain. And then I was just like, okay, like fine, I'll get it. I was like in the biggest pain. Like, there was no way that I was gonna wait any longer. So then she's like, okay, I'm gonna go and call the anesthesiologist. So he came, and thank God that he came maybe like 10 or 15 minutes later after I had asked for it, because I've also heard of like people like asking for the epidural, and then that it takes hours for the doctor to get there and like actually give them the epidural. So luckily, I don't know, maybe that guy just started his shift, I don't know, but I was in pain, but luckily it was only for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then the doctor got there. He had me like go at like the edge of the bed and kind of just like hunch over, and then I was just like holding on to my husband like this, because he was like, okay, you kind of need to arch your back, and he was trying to figure out like, you know, where exactly to like put that epidural or like the needle, whatever you want to call it. And then like I was still in just so much pain. I just remember I was crying, I was just like holding my husband like this. And then like I was like arching my back, and then I just feel like the sting. Like, first of all, I saw the needle, and like I was like, oh my gosh, like that, like first of all, it's like maybe like this big, and it's just like, I don't know. I was just like, oh my gosh, because again, I'm like, oh sorry babe, I'm like super like scaredy cat. So I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted this to be over, but I knew that like, okay, I'm getting the epidural, everything else should be better after this. So I got the epidural, and then like that hurt, like it did hurt, that hurt, but not as like them breaking my water bag hurt more than the epidural. So once I got the epidural, I was just like, oh my God, I felt like a little bit relieved, but I think they said it was going to take a little bit of time, like for it to kick in. I think they said maybe like an hour. But anyway, so after that, I felt better. But I was really uncomfortable. Like I kept messing with like, you know, like the little control thing that they give you, the thing for like the bed to like, I don't know, I guess like move it more up, down. So I kept messing with that because like my back was hurting. I kept going like this way and then like trying to turn that way. And like also like I couldn't really feel like the bottom half. Like I think because when they put you on the Pitocin, that starts helping you dilate, or it's supposed to speed up the process, but it also like gets you, or that might have just been the epidural, like that gets you kind of like numb so you don't feel anything. So I want to say that that's also like another thing that like I didn't like the feeling of like me not being in control of my body. Like it was just weird because like they would come in and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm okay. Like I feel better now that I have the epidural. It wasn't like when I like first broke my water, or they broke my water, but like I just remember feeling really uncomfortable. Like I couldn't sleep. They're like, get some rest, you know, later on today or tomorrow's gonna be the big day. But like I couldn't sleep. Like I was very uncomfortable, tossing and turning. So they came, and then since I couldn't feel like waist out, you know, they move you this way and then like put pillows and stuff, and like, okay, well, do you feel better? And then it's like, oh no, not really. But like, you know, you just like, I don't know, like they were like trying to like get me to be like in a comfortable position where I was like, oh yeah, this is comfortable. But like it just took so many times like going this way and then this way, and they're just like throw your legs over and then like this way, and then I'm just like, okay, sure, whatever, like yeah, that feels better. But really like I just was so uncomfortable. So what, maybe it's like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning now. I was still like at a 3 for like the longest time. I want to say by like maybe 6 in the morning, I maybe got to like a 5. Still nothing drastic. They thought that she probably wasn't going to come till maybe like 2 in the afternoon. And then once it hit 7 in the morning, then like the new group of like nurses came in, and then yeah, so the new nurse came in and she brought me this like peanut looking like ball thing. And then she came to check like, you know, where I was at. I think I was maybe like at a 5 or 6. No, I think I was like at a 5. And so she came, should they like put this peanut thing, and I think that's also supposed to help you like dilate, I guess. And so she was, yeah, so she put me on that peanut thing. And then yeah, maybe that was like 6 a.m. And then I was still just really like uncomfortable. But by that time, like I felt like a sumo wrestler. Like my thighs felt like, hold on. My thighs felt like how wide they felt. They felt like they were like this. Like just jumbo, like sumo wrestler, like that's how they felt. First of all, I was numb. I could not feel waist down. Oh, and then because keep in mind, like when the nurses were coming back in, like throughout the night, it was like, oh, like how much pain are you in? I was like, I just feel really uncomfortable. So like every time they would like, I guess like up the dosage, I think of like Pitocin, like, so I was just like numb the whole time. And so by the time that second shift came in, so the nurse came like, I think at 7 a.m., I told her, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to push. Like, I can't feel, you know, waist down. And she was just like looking at me like, no, like you'll be fine. Like, trust me, when the time comes, like you'll know, you'll be able to push. And I'm just like, no, like I cannot feel like waist down. Like there's no way that I'm pushing anything. Like I literally was thinking that I was probably going to have a C-section, because I was thinking, you know what? They're thinking that I can push, and I'm telling them that like, no, I don't feel waist down. So what do you want me to push? Like, I'm not going to be able to push. And I was just thinking like, you know what? Her head or something is probably going to get stuck because I can't push. And then I'm going to end up like having to get a C-section or something. That's what I was thinking. Anyways, so by that time I was super numb. So numb. Thighs, legs felt like jumbos, like sumo wrestlers. And then my doctor, so my OBGYN, he came in, I want to say like 8 o'clock. Like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I want to get her out of here. Like, you know, I want this to be over. Okay. And so then I think he came to check in on me and see where I was at. And then I think by that time, I was at a 6, maybe. I think this was like already 8 a.m. And so then by the time that by the time that they came back in, because he was like, okay, I'll be back. She's not ready. And then I think it was like maybe 8:30, so maybe like 30 minutes later, the nurse came back in. And then she was just like, oh my gosh, you're at a 9. So I literally went supposedly from like a 6 to a 9, I think within like maybe 30 minutes. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, like you're supposed to be at like 10 centimeters to like have a baby. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm at 9. And then like I literally like, I grabbed my phone, I called my mom, and like I was like, oh my gosh, mom, they're telling me I'm at a 9. She's like, oh my gosh, that was fast. Like, you know, it's just like, oh my gosh, okay, you know, talk to you later. And then, so then by this time, I want to say, so that nurse, she was like right here in the front. And then there was another nurse right here on this side, and then my husband was on this side. And so, oh crap. And so she was just like, okay, so hold her legs. So they like had my legs pushed out like this. And she was like, you know what, let's do some practice contractions, or practice pushes, I mean. So I was like, okay. So she was like looking at this like monitor that was over here. And so she's like, okay, we're going to see when a contraction comes, and then you're going to push. So she was like trying to teach me like how to like push and stuff. And I was like, okay. And so I was like trying to push, but again, like I said, I couldn't feel waist down. So I didn't feel like I was even doing anything. And then I just remember like my husband and the lady being like, oh my gosh, like go, you're doing so good. And like, I literally felt like they were lying to me because I couldn't feel anything. Like, I didn't feel like I was doing anything. Like, there was just no way that there was any progress, is like what I was thinking. So I felt that they were lying to me. I literally felt that they were lying to me just to motivate me, like, keep going, you know? And then I want to say it was like 9 o'clock. So then the doctor, or my OBGYN, he came back in. It was 9 o'clock. He came in. He got all like suited up in his, you know, outfit, whatever you want to call it. And then he was then, you know, there in the front, and then was like, okay, you know, you're at a 9 now. Let's start pushing. He was just like waiting for the contractions as well, like, or to see that like the contractions are coming, and then for me to push. And so literally she was, no. So this is what happened. So we were pushing, or I was pushing, and then the nurse that was right here on my right hand side, I remember her picking up the phone and calling someone and saying, baby's gonna be here in 5 minutes. I was still in just like disbelief, like, what is this lady talking about? The baby is not gonna be here in 5 minutes. Like, I don't know. I was just like, there's no way. Whoever she's calling right now is just gonna waste their time. Like, she's not gonna be out in 5 minutes is what I was thinking. But then like, next thing I just keep like, keep going, push, she's almost out, keep pushing, push, give us another good push, like. And then like next thing you know, I just remember like hearing my doctor, like I hear him like patting, like just going like this, and just like I hear him saying like, spit it out, and just like I hear like a pat, and then I was just like, oh my gosh, like she's here. And then like I guess I could hear her maybe like spit out whatever she had, but I just hear the pat, but she's not crying. So I was still like, that's weird, because like normally it's like in the movies, you just like the baby comes out and you just hear like, rah, you know, like crying, like rah. So she didn't cry. I think like right after she was born, like I saw that they were bringing her here, and I think they just kind of like, no, I think they were like putting her kind of towards me, but then I remember like the doctor giving my husband like the scissors to cut the umbilical cord. So you like cut the umbilical cord quick, and then like they put her on me. She was really like, she looked poofy, she looked swollen, like her head, she looked a little bit purple, but like they put her on my chest, and like I don't know, I saw like half of her head because she was just like this, like sideways, and she was asleep. Like she was just sleeping, her eyes were closed. I just remember saying like, hi. I was like, you know, kind of like trying to wake her up. Like I wanted to see her eyes, but she was just asleep. And then after that, they ended up taking her. And then I think like to weigh her in and give her shots and all that. Once the nurse got her, that's when she started crying. That's like the first time I heard her cry. And so I'm assuming that's because, you know, they gave her shots and everything. And then I heard the weight. Like they were like 8 pounds, 8 ounces. So I was like shocked, because I don't know, I didn't expect her to be 8 ounces. Like I was thinking she was going to be like 6 or 7 pounds, just because I always hear that that's kind of like the normal range. So I wasn't expecting her to be 8 pounds, 8 ounces. I was like, oh my gosh. I was just like shocked, because I was like, was I really that big? Like I was big, but I didn't feel like big, like that big, you know? But anyways, I guess so. I guess maybe I was just delusional, not thinking I was that big. But anyways, so they said that I did a good job. They were just like, I mean, we did a couple like practice, you know, pushes like around 8:30-ish, but they're like, but by the time that you really got like the good contractions, that was like at 9 a.m., like when the doctor came in, and then she was born at 9:48 a.m. So they were like, the actual like, you know, pushing process, like you got her out like in less than an hour. So they said that was, you know, pretty good for like my first pregnancy. Oh yeah, so she's my first baby. I didn't mention that. But yeah, so 8 pounds, 8 ounces, born at 9:48 a.m. And she was 21 inches. And what else, baby? That was pretty much it. So this was our birth story. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and to all the moms who are going to be having a baby, your story might not necessarily be exactly like mine. You might have a C-section. Who knows, your delivery might take longer, but good luck, and we will see you guys in the next video. Say bye. Say bye. Bye YouTube. We'll see you guys in the next one.